Welcome to J&J with myself, Jacob Money, and my partner, as always, Jerry Drummond. Today's episode is sponsored by Qdoba, always providing us with free waters and chips. Now, in today's episode, we're going to be breaking down the conference finals. Jerry, I'll start with you. In the Celtics-Cavs Game 7, what are your reactions?
Well, we just witnessed probably the best basketball player of all time, LeBron James. You know me. I hate LeBron because of a certain individual that I'm friends with. He can remain unnamed. He rides LeBron, and I'm sick of it. But going into Game 7, I was thinking, Celtics young team,
absolutely
got to get tested by probably the best player
and
ever.
without. I think we forget that this entire season they've gone without Gordon Hayward, one of the best small forwards in the league.
Yeah.
And without a doubt, Kyrie Irving would have changed the dynamic of the entire series, without a doubt.
But you just look at it, 7 from 39 for 3. That's just does Brad Stevens, best coach in the NBA, does he not make any changes? I didn't really see that.
Well, at the end of the day, coaches coach and players play, Jerry.
That's facts. I would have to agree with that.
But yeah, definitely for sure. The 7 for 31, it's not a great stat line, but honestly, first run. All of these Celtics players, it's their first run being tested, especially by the greatest player of all time, playing some of his best basketball.
That was probably Tyronn Lue said that was the best game he's ever seen LeBron play. I wouldn't go that far, but that was top 7 LeBron performance you've ever seen.
I don't know about that, but definitely a top 5 performance because not only did he carry a sorry team to begin with. Let's be honest, this team probably wouldn't have gotten past the first round in the West anyways.
Oh, yeah, no.
But in the way that he did it, literally, and also demoralizingly getting posterized by a rookie with 7 minutes left in the game.
That's kept the composure.
Right after a big play, kept the composure, and continued to just take over the game, take over the series. It's quite impressive.
And the knock on LeBron is always, he can't shoot. That's not like the knock, because that's probably one of his weaknesses. And he was hitting, Game 6, you saw him hitting the side.
I don't know. I could count on one hand the amount of those faders, that like little back down side fader. I could count on one hand the amount of those that he missed the entire series.
We were talking about it when we were watching it, and you were saying he's gonna go elbow, spin, fader, and it's coming. You still can't stop it.
Especially when they switch, they like to switch Scary Terry onto him.
Yeah, and that's just obviously a mismatch.
It's an impossible ask for
the mouse
Terry.
in the house, Terry.
Absolutely.
But I thought he played. I think if the one positive, obviously,
Jason Tatum is definitely the bright spot for this team going forward,
and
without a doubt.
Rozier is a good asset. You can either keep him on the bench, or if you really want to, you could trade him.
And now this is one of the points I was getting into. One of the bright spots of having Kyrie out of this series is that Terry Rozier, without a doubt, is now much more experienced, much more battle-tested going forward. And now, whether you choose to keep him or trade him, you have an absolute star bench player, much like the Warriors have. But
I wouldn't say their bench is gonna be, or with Kyrie, it's not gonna be Warriors level, like when they were like 73-9 level.
No,
but it's better. They'll have a better bench than the Warriors.
Especially in the East, where
because that team on its own could make the playoffs.
Absolutely, without a doubt. And Terry Rozier, now it's one of those things where you look at the Warriors, kind of how Steph's injuries, they wouldn't have gotten the acquisitions they would have today without all of Steph's injuries. Terry Rozier would absolutely not be the player he is now
without Kyrie.
You think about from round 1, he was hitting game winners over.
And he had a turnover in the first 3 or 4 games,
which are great stats, especially with him carrying the ball so much.
And then he didn't get the little Eric Bledsoe, a little crap, calling him Drew Bledsoe, and all of a sudden,
and that's tough. Like first round, you're already coming up being a dog like that. That's tough stuff.
And I respect him. He could shoot. He can put him in the dribble. He can create his own shot.
And to kind of step out of the light of arguably the best point guard in our game.
Yes.
And to become his own player, his own name. Everybody knew. Casual basketball fans knew who he was, but not to this extent. I think maybe he was probably the only one who believed in himself, and now we all see that. You
could kind of see it when he was at Louisville. You could kind of see it
a bit,
but you didn't see it to this level.
It really takes him, stepping into the spotlight without, being under the shadow of Kyrie to really step forward as a leader for this team for sure.
Yeah, but the bright spot, this team is young. They took 7 games.
Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown
are
going to be
raw.
an absolute powerhouse.
So raw.
He can defend. Yeah, Jaylen Brown, to your point, fantastic defender.
He can defend.
Can shoot the ball. Can defend. Can drive. His ball playmaking skills and finishing is going to get better as expected.
Yeah, because he's super athletic.
Extremely athletic. Yeah, but you notice he goes up for the first shot, possibly gets blocked, has a bad shot, jumps right up, gets it back, gets it put in, and that's what you love to see from your young players. Go and get after it. Jason Tatum, all I have to say is wow. I think the entire, led them in scoring the entire series.
24 points in Game 7.
Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, well, he's doing the scoring, he's doing this and that, but he's not really the leader of this team. I honestly saw him step up as one of the best players on the floor. I wouldn't say
he's the vocal leader, but he's definitely the lead by example kind of guy. You have to have in the rookie that's your best player.
Mm-hmm. And he's not going to have – he's a rookie. He's still getting into his stuff, and I don't think he's ever been a flamboyant personality kind of guy.
At Duke, you could definitely tell he wasn't that kind of guy.
But without a doubt, everybody's talking about Donovan Mitchell and Ben Simmons, but
Jason Tatum
took over the play. Granted, much better team around him.
Obviously, yeah.
But completely took the world by storm, I think. And he's going to have – I see a lot of Paul Pierce in him, to be honest. I think
he's a more athletic
Paul Pierce.
I think he has potential to be a better scorer because he can back you down, just like Paul Pierce.
Exactly.
He shot the ball better than I thought he could, to be honest.
You can see flashes of it at Duke, but he definitely came into the league a very refined, skilled scorer, and his game translated extremely well.
And the length is there, the body,
absolutely.
And for first possession, or no, first quarter, LeBron was we were watching the game and they throw up.
Yeah, granted, this entire time he's playing the best player
against his
on
idol,
the planet.
pretty much LeBron.
Yes.
So they're dribbling the ball down the court. Terry Rozier throws a pass. LeBron reaches for it, doesn't get it. Jason Tatum has a wide open lane, but he takes a dribble, shoots a three. I'm like, what are you doing? But he makes it. That just shows the confidence in his shot.
Exactly, and I think as soon as I saw that, I was like, that's a rookie move.
Yeah,
but
it went in.
Also, definitely some serious swagger there from Jason Tatum.
No doubt.
And now, after all that, we're going to get into the other very controversial, very heated Game 7 on the Western Conference, Rockets versus Warriors. And I think going into this, everybody was kind of seeing glimpses. Maybe this is it. Maybe the Warriors, maybe they finally met their match.
And I think a lot of us are hoping for that, just because.
Oh, most definitely.
Going into Game 6, I was like, okay, I don't think they're going to lose at home.
Mm-hmm.
Was Chris Paul was out for 6, I think, for Game 6
and 7. Yes.
Yeah, so that definitely played a role.
Oh, without a doubt. And like a casual basketball fan, I think we're all. Whether you're a Warriors fan or not, you have to admit it gets a bit monotonous.
It's like Alabama in football.
It really is. And you can't. Nothing to take away from the greatness of this team. Obviously, one of the greatest teams of the generation.
Mm-hmm.
But to see them finally go toe to toe, without a doubt. One of their probably this in the OKC series of a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Definitely their greatest challenge.
That was, I think,
to the finals.
Winning against OKC was more of it was a better moment because they had the core there
coming down from 3-1.
And then Chris Paul didn't play for the Rockets, so there's always gonna be that excuse.
That's true.
But I think a lot of this has to go. A lot of Mike D'Antoni, terrible game.
Now this is to my point. Otis 0-27 to end the game from 3, and this is a team that we saw even in the first half of that game. Eric Gordon lighting it up.
Yeah.
PJ Tucker from his corner lighting it up.
Yeah.
I think PJ Tucker was 29 of 34 from 3 that series. Or 29 of his 34 threes had come from that corner. Everybody knew their role. Eric Gordon's driving, getting aggressive, can also pop ahead of 3. Trevor Ariza is doing his thing. Chris Paul, James Harden's making some absurd plays.
Yeah. But back to your point about Eric Gordon, you texted in the group chat we're in, Eric Gordon's so overrated, or not underrated, sorry. I was like, oh, yeah, totally agree. All of a sudden, that's when the 0 for 27 little streak started.
Which is true, and I think that attests to, at the end of the day, individuals have to make their plays and do their parts, but your best player on the court, James Harden,
disappeared.
And I think this is something I thought about. When you're James Harden and you're a scoring player, that's what you're known
That's your bread and butter.
That's your bread and butter.
That's your cash.
That's why you're
in the league.
That's why you're most likely going to win MVP this year.
Yep.
Is because you're scoring,
mm-hmm.
and your shots aren't falling.
You gotta find a way. I
think maybe something kind of comes up in your head, like, well, if my shots aren't dropping, what am I doing here? And so I think, with LeBron, he can absolutely afford not with this team, but maybe against a lesser team, he can afford to have a bad shooting night, bad scoring night.
Because he's going to play defense. Because he's going to rebound. He's going to push the ball.
Exactly. He can dominate the game in other ways. Not that James Harden can't do that, but his scoring definitely by far the strongest part of his game. And when you see shots not falling in, stuff going down like that, teammates also shots not falling in. The offense isn't getting in a rhythm. Definitely's got to demoralize you a little bit there for sure.
The one thing I saw was regular season we always saw Harden get these calls. So he go to the line.
Mm-hmm.
If he's in a slump, he get his rhythm back.
Went to the foul line more. Yeah,
a couple will go in.
Mm-hmm.
But in the playoffs, you're not going to get those calls, especially down the line and further you go. So I think once he kind of got in a slump, he knew he couldn't get the calls, so he had no way to get out of it by just chucking up more threes.
And he was trying to shoot his way out, and he just couldn't. Even though, granted, this is a fantastic shooting team, one of the best in the league, probably second only to the Warriors.
Yeah.
With even their bench players coming in, Gerald Green is knocking down.
Yep.
He's only taking a couple threes a game, but he's consistently knocking them down.
They're hard threes he's making too.
Mm-hmm. Those moving threes. When you see kind of all the guys are kind of looking at James like he's the catalyst for the offense.
Mm-hmm. And he's not producing. They're like, oh, well, what are we going to do?
Exactly.
The only thing, the only player on that roster who won a championship, I believe, is Ariza.
Yes, Trevor
Ariza
was on the Lakers.
He went 0 for 12 from three. Or from the field.
Was, I think in Game 3, he was a major factor.
Yeah.
He's a great all-around player for the team. And honestly, what frustrates me about, D'Antoni can't take anything away from him, one of the best coaches in the league without a doubt.
Yeah.
Great offensive mind. You look at their pick and roll game with Clint Capella in the first half, absolutely going to town. He's catching lobs left and right. They
just forgot about it in the second half.
And I think D'Antoni and the rest of the team just thought that, well, they're good shooters, they'll get back into it. And they kept forcing these threes that, as you can see, 0 for 27 to end the game. They just simply could not get back in their rhythm. And I'm sitting there watching the game saying, Go back to the well. Start going with your stop with these ISOs and stop with these James Harden ISOs and go back to your pick and rolls with Clint Capella that were money for you, kind of the whole series too. And Clint Capella,
because no one can guard him on the Warriors once he
exactly when Draymond's your playing center essentially for you. Draymond, obviously a fantastic defender, he's not going up there grabbing stuff with Clint Capella.
To pick on the Warriors a little bit, I think So before they had Kevin Durant, they were the Spurs, really just moving the ball really well.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at the series, it was all ISO.
Exactly,
and that's why I think they were. We didn't really expect they had to play good defense.
In game 2, you can absolutely point the finger to their ISOs with Kevin Durant becoming their only source of offense, and you see when they got their old school ball movement going back together. That's what everybody was so scared about with him. Kevin Durant, yes, probably the best ISO player in the league.
Probably, you could say ever.
One of the greatest,
Kareem,
absolutely top 3 ISO player of all time.
Yeah. That's on Ja too, yeah.
And you obviously, if you're a team, you have to pick your poison with the Warriors. They're all incredible players, but when you would absolutely, as good as the Warriors are, you take a Kevin Durant ISO over the Warriors swinging the ball because once, let's say, Klay Thompson gets in his zone,
it's over. We saw that in Game 6.
Exactly, and when let's say Steph or somebody's in his zone, you double team him. That leaves a trigger, and that leaves the ball movement to start.
PYP.
And that's when you get your wide open. Klay Thompson corner threes.
I think they need to get more looks.
And you saw when they got Klay more involved. I mean, the game just completely. He is the most consistent shooter in the game right now.
Yeah.
Not to take away from.
Well, I mean,
Steph
Steph's
and
battling
KD.
an injury. KD, I wouldn't.
His degree of shots are absolutely
Yeah.
higher than Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
I mean, 50% of Klay Thompson's shots are catch and shoot. But without a doubt, Klay Thompson probably the most consistent 3-point shooter.
And he doesn't get enough credit for the way he defends.
That's also that's very true.
I would say he's a top 10 two-way player in the league.
Top 5 without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Leonard Davis.
You could
say Paul
LeBron.
George, LeBron, yeah.
And Klay Thompson, shooting guard. You got a lot of hard shooting guards out there.
He had to guard Harden.
Exactly.
All series.
Exactly. And you see when Harden's not getting guarded by him, he's making.
I mean, when you have Steph Curry on you, not an elite. He toyed with Steph Curry.
That's very true.
It was like Uncle Drew and he went to Central Park.
Without a doubt. It was a massacre.
It was that bad. That's how bad Curry is.
I mean, Curry was getting abused all.
I mean, I don't know where he learned that defense because it's terrible.
Oh, well, I mean, I think he just needs to hit the weight room, get bigger.
But I mean, he got destroyed.
Yeah, and I think to break it down, we also forget about Iggy not playing in the series, which he's part of their death lineup. I think that's obviously a big part of their system.
Yeah.
But Chris Paul,
that's much bigger.
Being out is obviously in the last two. They were on a two game win streak to put it up 3-2 in the series, and then you're down 3-2. You're up 3-2. You're one game away.
Pulls a hamstring.
And Chris, who's finally coming in early in the series, wasn't playing great basketball, wasn't hitting his shots, finally coming into his own. In Game 5, goes down, and I think that could have been the decision maker in the series ultimately, and that could have cost them a championship in the long run.
I think if you're the Rockets going into this offseason, this team was built to beat the Warriors.
Yes.
Granted,
their GM had looked at and modeled his team after the Warriors, taking away their strengths and weaknesses. Absolutely, yes.
Granted, Chris Paul's hurt. This team couldn't do that. Do you go out and try to sign another guy? Maybe. I mean, not a Kawhi Leonard, obviously. Try to trade for him, but I think you should need another shooter or another more consistent shooter.
At the end of the day, this team is going to make at least the conference quarterfinals for the next few years, as long as they have that core together and those bench players. The more you get there and the more you don't have, I mean, it was extremely unfortunate Chris Paul went down. That could have cost them a championship. If you get there more times, you'll have more experience, and maybe James Harden does some soul searching and realizes, hey, I need to step up my game if I want to do this for my team and for my city and get a ring here. Yeah. I'm going to have to step up my game. And that's okay. This was his first time really being in the situation as the leader of the team. Mm-hmm. Granted, he'd been to the finals with OKC, but
and then Western Conference we got swept.
Much more of a role player, but now, stepping up as the man of an elite team, best record in the league, without a doubt one of the top contenders for trophy. I think he's definitely got to do some soul searching and realize that he's gonna have to step up his game if he wants to create a contending team around him.
And at the end of the day, they live and die by the 3. So,
which I think they could have done a better. Like I said earlier, done a better job of going back to Clint Capella, going back to those pick and rolls that were working so well against the small ball lineup.
Yep.
Well, now we're gonna get into a bit of a different NBA discussion here. Very heated topic: Ben Simmons or Donovan Mitchell Rookie of the Year race. Jerry, state your case for either one.
So I know your take on this is, but I think I like Don Mitchell. I think he should win Rookie of the Year. I think Ben Simmons is a better player, but I think the 76ers could have made the playoffs without Ben Simmons, with Embiid.
Agreed.
And I don't think the Jazz can make it without Mitchell. So I think
also agreed.
Mitchell is more. His team is more relying on him, in my opinion. But I mean, honestly, I think Tatum should be in this conversation too. But I don't think he's not going to be. I think Simmons will win just because, just his body. He's good. He's gonna be great.
He really is a mixture of LeBron James and Magic Johnson. And the reason I pull for Simmons this debate, when you watch him play, you watch him pick and rolls. Obviously, shooting, not one of his absolute weaknesses, but you can develop that.
Yeah.
You watch him drive and you watch him go off these picks and just absolutely throw down on vets in the league. It's incredible to watch, and I think as good as Donovan Mitchell is, and he makes those highlight plays, I think Ben Simmons it just comes easier to him with his body and his athleticism.
6'10",
point guard, really? Playing point guard with those legitimate ball handling skills. I mean, he really is a true 6'10" point guard. He's such a problem. I mean, you even match up some of the elite point guard defenders with him.
Can't guard him,
and it's still a major matchup issue.
You can't guard him because you put a point guard on him, back him down, put a big on him, he'll blow right by you.
Exactly, and definitely his shooting.
That's a big concern.
Big concern, but to your point of Donovan Mitchell was, the best. I mean, after redisputing, he was the best player on that team. Him and Rudy Gobert, maybe.
I would say. I would say Mitchell's. I think it's a guard league. I think your best player has to be a guard.
That's true. And I mean, we're talking about Jason Tatum, semi in the conversation.
Yeah.
A point forward type of player.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons, point guard, so to speak, and Donovan Mitchell, a guard. So it is a guards league, absolutely. But yeah, to your point, Donovan Mitchell absolutely was put more weight on his shoulder. I mean, Ben Simmons has multiple.
Redick, he's got Covington. He's got good players.
They really do have great role players and a growing star and Embiid around him. But yeah, Donovan Mitchell definitely. And taking down a team, granted a dysfunctional OKC team to say the least, but a team full of 3 former All-Stars and current rating MVPs, you can't take that for granted.
And, I mean, he kind of shut down Westbrook.
No, and absolutely, he has the athleticism, the body, and the tools for a shooting guard. He has all the tools. He is a freak athlete, and a good shooter now will absolutely improve on his game.
Yeah,
and good ball handling skills for a shooting guard, and he's definitely got some swagger and some fight in him. Absolutely, definitely looking forward to those two futures in the league.
It's gonna be their league here in a little bit.
Absolutely,
it's fun to watch.
For sure. And now some quick updates for you in the college basketball world.
Yes,
we have today was decision day for anyone who was going to declare for the draft, the NBA draft. As you know, players are allowed to go into the draft, but if they do not sign an agent, they can by today come out and say, well, I'm going to go and stay in the league, put my name in, sign an agent, or come back and play another season of college ball. Some big updates today. Azubuike of Kansas, they're definitely going to be...
He destroyed Clemson. Clemson.
That's a big body for sure. A top, probably going to be a contender for first-team All-American next year. Coming back to a contending team. I think they're preseason number 1. So, I mean, a contending team, Final Four team, absolutely.
You get Devon Dotson there, great point guard.
And Azubuike, he's been there, done that. Kansas in the Final Four every other year. So, has some experience. Definitely going to be a major impact player for them going forward. And then Tyus Battle for Syracuse. What carried the team this year. Pretty terrible team.
He had a game. See, I mean, obviously, I'm the Clemson fan, but so we were playing at the Carrier Dome. We're up by 10. All of a sudden, Tyus Battle, 12 straight points. So his ability to score, he was NBA ready, in my opinion.
Oh, without a doubt, he is an NBA player.
But going back, I think he might have unfinished business to take care of.
For sure.
But the 2 guys I'm most looking back to, or glad they're coming back, Shelton Mitchell, Marquise Reed, 2 guards out of Clemson from the Sweet 16
and that's
team.
obviously a growing program. You look at their progress this past year.
4 of the 5 stars are back. I think Clemson, they're that's definitely a tournament team.
That's a major issue in the ACC. I mean, they were last year, but I think you got 4 or 5 stars coming back. Like
if you want to, if you're a Clemson, you're a football school, and you want to compete against Dukes and the UNCs
and the Virginias,
yeah,
it's
you gotta have older guys that have been there. They're not rattled easily. They just go through the calls. They hit shots. They just do what the coaches do.
And that's how you get through this tournament.
Yeah.
And one more for the Kentucky Wildcats, P.J. Washington coming back. That was a major decision for the Wildcats. They are coming in with a very stacked class. Them and Duke coming in with very stacked classes next year. But the key, as we see, the key to win championships is having some experience back. You look at the 2015 Duke team, lots of talented freshmen. Quinn Cook was their leader.
Quinn Cook, yep.
2012 Kentucky Wildcats, lots of talented freshmen, a couple sophomores. Darius Miller, the glue of the team. So
you look at the Villanova
team, absolutely.
Brunson,
experience and talent.
Did he declare?
He was a senior.
Oh, he was.
Jalen
Okay.
Brunson. So, without a doubt, P.J. Washington going to be a major. Myself being a Kentucky fan, ecstatic to hear this news because having experience and having guys that have been there, done that. Granted, they're still sophomores. But
it's another year in the program. They can
absolutely.
Kentucky,
shed a light on all these young guys.
It's pretty much a revolving door of the roster.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a sophomore in Calipari's system is really a junior.
Mm-hmm.
So give that experience to Tyler Hero coming in, all these other freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be huge.
Yep,
huge.
And like you said, especially with now, the one and done system growing in popularity, the key for coaches and what they need to do, the sign of a great coach is not fitting their players to a system, but fitting
the system
to their players.
I could agree with that.
Which, absolutely, that's championship basketball. If let's say you got a team full of, let's say Kentucky this past year, a bunch of athletic wing swing guys, not a great 3-point shooting team, and let's say you try to run them like a Golden State style offense, a lot of cuts and lots of picks for open threes.
Yep.
You're not gonna have much success. So you definitely gotta fit your system to your players, and that's how you win games.
Yeah.
Now for our hot take of the
day, baby.
Hot take of the day. My hot take for you, Jerry. Your reaction. First time hearing this.
Right.
If LeBron takes this series, upcoming final series, to more than 5 games, does he solidify GOAT status?
GOAT status. Wow. Okay, well, obviously, if he wins this series, he's the GOAT.
If he wins this, I don't think anybody's debating that.
Yeah. If he takes this terrible Cavs team to
this Cavs team is up there with one of the worst teams to ever be in the finals.
Oh, without a doubt.
This is like Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
LeBron in 08 or 07 type stuff here.
I would say yeah.
Especially going against arguably one of the greatest teams of all time.
Yeah.
Let's not fool ourselves here.
Pretty much 4 Hall of Famers.
4 future Hall of Famers, absolutely. LeBron, already coming off of a brutal conference final series with the Celtics.
Yeah, I think.
His back has got to be so.
Tired.
His back is
carrying
that team. He's gonna have some serious spinal issues.
Yep.
When he turns 40, from all this carrying that he's been doing for the past.
He
years.
might be still in the NBA when he's 40. You never know. He might be immortal.
He might be a god. He might be 45 years old
and still playing
with steel rods in his back
and just
carrying the entire Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
So the reason I think that LeBron becomes a GOAT, I see the Cavs winning 1 game in this series.
I'll give you my hot take.
Okay.
Obviously, it might not come true. They split in Oracle. That's a hot take.
And that the Cavs are going to have to do that if they want any shot at.
I just think look back. So I'm listening to Colin Cowherd. Obviously, we're better than him. We're not. He does not know anything compared to us.
No research there. But go on.
Yeah, but he was saying the Warriors don't have that dog in them that the Bulls had.
Mm-hmm.
I think they play with their food. They don't just eat it.
That's true.
I think
Steve Kerr said that during the regular season he got so bored with all these terrible teams he would just step aside and let the players coach.
Yeah.
That's how good this team is.
Yeah, but I just think LeBron's gonna go for 45, 17 and 10 a night.
Without a doubt.
He might, if he averages a triple double in the finals,
it still might not be enough.
Oh, no.
Probably won't because
Love is I don't think Love's not playing game one.
Love
he?
He's on concussion protocol.
Okay.
Most likely will not play game one. We saw last year Kevin Love. It took Kevin Love and the Cavs scoring the most points in a half of finals history to beat them once. That's with Kyrie Irving, and that really shows how good this Warriors team is, and also now without Kyrie Irving,
I wish Kyrie. Oh God,
without Kyrie Irving, how desperate this team is for Kevin Love and the Tristan Thompsons and the JRs, Henny God. Shout out Henny God to step up in this series.
I mean, even Jordan Clarkson, I think he has potential to. Give
the
10
trade,
or 12 or 9.
trade with George Hill definitely took out some of his PT, but yes, definitely a solid role player and great length of the point guard position. So I think that's gonna wrap it up for today's episode.
Solid first show.
Thank you guys for joining us today with J&J. Myself, Jacob Money, and my partner here, Jerry Drummond. Here as always. I'd like to give a quick shout out to Walk On Mentality for sponsoring this videos. You can buy your merch. Talk to our host here, Jerry Drummond.
Website coming soon
if you want to buy that merch. And thank you so much for joining us here today. We'll see you guys next time.